I'm nervous, I whispered, clutching the prototype on my laptop. Lena smiled, brushing her hair back. Don't be. You've got this, Ethan. It's your baby, remember? I forced a grin. Our baby, you mean? She laughed softly. Right. Our baby. We stood outside the conference room. Inside, 3 investors waited. Suits, confidence, money. I felt my throat tighten. Just breathe, she whispered. Talk like you do when it's just us. Yeah, I said. Except this time, it could decide the rest of our lives. Her hand brushed mine. Then let's make it count. When we entered, I tried to sound calm. Thank you for meeting us today. My name's Ethan Cole, and this is Lena Hart, she interrupted smoothly. We're here to present an innovation in emotional analytics, software that understands human emotion through digital behavior. Her tone was confident, rehearsed. I shot her a quick glance, surprised. She'd never sounded that polished before. Mr. Crane, the lead investor, leaned forward. So you're saying your app can read emotions from online patterns? Yes, I said quickly. It learns through user interaction, emotion-linked behavior mapping. We've been developing it for 2 years, Lena smiled at them. We call it Emoticore, I blinked. I thought we settled on Centify. She didn't even look at me. We talked about rebranding, remember? Emoticore feels stronger. I swallowed my confusion. Right, yeah, Emoticore. Dylan sat behind us, our supposed partner, nodding along silently. He hadn't said much all morning. Mr. Crane frowned. Interesting. What's your revenue model? I opened my slides. Targeting ad analytics first. Then Lena interrupted again. Actually, we've been discussing partnerships with mental health platforms. The emotional prediction angle has wider social use. I stared at her. That wasn't part of the plan, Mr. Crane smiled. Now that's interesting. You seem like the visionary here, Miss Hart. She laughed lightly. Oh, Ethan's the brains. I just handle communication. The rest of the meeting blurred. Every time I spoke, she redirected. Every idea I'd spent nights coding, she smoothed over with charm and polish. When it ended, the investors exchanged polite smiles. Thank you both, Mr. Crane said. It's innovative but risky. Emotional data is unpredictable. We'll pass for now. Outside, I slumped on the bench. We blew it. No, she said. We learned. Next time, we'll present better. Next time? I asked. They said no. They said for now, she corrected. You heard it. It's just timing. Dylan stretched, yawning. They weren't ready for something like this. We'll find someone who is, I sighed. Maybe I should have let you handle all of it. You're better at talking to people, she smiled softly. You're better at building. That's what matters. Her voice made me believe her. I didn't see the way Dylan looked at her, like they already shared a secret. 2 months later, I saw her face on my phone screen. Breaking. Emotic. The app that understands you. Launches to massive success. Lena Hart. CEO, Dylan Reed, co-founder. My hands shook. I clicked the article. The screenshots, the interface, even the data structure, and it was mine. Every single line of it, I called her. No answer. Texted her. Nothing. Finally, she replied, You're overreacting. It's a different product. A different product. The same code, same algorithm, same concept, but without my name. I drove to her apartment. She opened the door halfway. Ethan, she said calmly. You shouldn't be here. You stole it, I said. You took my idea, my design, everything, she sighed. Ethan, listen. No, you listen. That was my work. You said we were in this together. Her tone stayed flat. You were too emotional. You always are. Investors don't trust people who act desperate. I laughed bitterly. So you took my code and erased me from my own project? She crossed her arms. It's not about you anymore. It's about what we created. There's no we anymore. Then maybe there never was, she said quietly. Goodbye, Ethan. The door closed in my face. I stood there for what felt like hours. The hallway lights flickered. My phone buzzed again. Dylan's message. It's business, man. Don't make it personal. Business. I spent nights writing posts online, explaining my side, showing proofs. No one believed me. Lena was the rising star, a young woman breaking barriers in tech. I was the jealous ex-partner, the bitter nobody. I remember the headlines mocking me. Disgruntled developer claims ownership of viral app. I remember Nora's voice over the phone. Ethan, stop. You're just making it worse. I built it, Nora. Every line of it. I know, she said softly. But they won't listen. Maybe that's when I stopped sleeping. Maybe that's when the anger turned into silence. One night I opened my old prototype, the original Centify file. I stared at the lines of code glowing on my screen. Every number felt like a wound. She smiled at me that day, holding my hand, calling it our baby. Now I stared at my phone again. No new messages, no calls. Just silence. I called Dylan for the 5th time that week. "Pick up, damn it," he finally answered, sounding annoyed. "Ethan, stop calling me, man. I just want to talk," I said. "You know what she did? You saw the code. Tell them the truth," he sighed. "Lena said you're losing it. You need help." "Help?" I almost laughed. She stole my work. How am I the crazy one? "Ethan, just let it go. The company's doing great. You should move on," I gritted my teeth. "You mean her company?" He hung up. I threw the phone at the couch and sank down beside it. The walls felt closer every day. Empty takeout boxes, unpaid bills, and that smell of burnt coffee that wouldn't leave. The next morning, my boss called me into his office. "Ethan," he said carefully, "the board decided to let you go." I froze. "What? Why?" "Negative attention. The posts, the online drama, it's bad for our image." "So that's it? You believe them too?" He shifted uncomfortably. "I don't know what to believe, but we can't afford the noise." I nodded slowly. "Right. Can't afford the noise. When I left, people at the office looked away." Some whispered. Others just stared at their screens, pretending not to see me pack my things. Outside, it started raining. Of course it did. The universe had a sense of irony. At home, Nora showed up unannounced. She dropped her umbrella by the door. "You look terrible," she said, her voice tight with worry. "I'm fine." "You're not." She picked up an empty can from the floor. "When was the last time you ate something that didn't come from a microwave?" "Does it matter?" "Yes, it does." "Ethan, listen to me. You've got to stop obsessing over her." I turned to her sharply. "She stole my life." "I know," she said softly. "But fighting her won't give it back?" She made me look insane. "Do you understand what that feels like?" Nora hesitated. "People will forget." Time? I laughed bitterly. "Time just makes her richer." She touched my arm. "Please, let it go before it kills you." I pulled away. "It already did." She looked at me for a long time, then whispered, "You're not the brother I remember." When she left, I stared at the door until the sound of her footsteps faded. Days blurred together. I sent resumes that no one answered. My inbox filled with mockery. Strangers calling me jealous, desperate, delusional. Some said I deserved it. At night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Lena smiling on magazine covers, her arm linked with Dylan's, both pretending they'd built something new. I called her once more, late at night. She answered this time. "Ethan, what do you want?" She asked coldly. "The truth," I said. "You owe me that," she sighed. "I don't owe you anything. You were weak. I just finished what you started." "Don't twist it like that." "It's not twisted. It's business. You're too emotional for this world. That's why you failed." I clenched my fist. "You call betrayal business?" "I call it survival," she said. "Goodbye, Ethan." The line went dead. I dropped the phone and laughed, a sound that didn't feel human. My reflection in the window looked like a stranger, hollow eyes, pale skin, unshaven jaw. The city lights outside blurred through the rain. Somewhere out there, she was celebrating her success, and I was nothing but a ghost haunting my own life. I opened the closet and pulled out my old notebook, the one with all the sketches, the algorithms, the handwriting smudged with coffee stains. I ran my fingers across the first page. Centify v1.0, concept, predict emotion through data. That used to mean something. Now it was just a reminder that trust kills faster than failure. I stuffed the notebook under my arm and walked out. The air was cold, sharp. My shoes splashed through puddles as I crossed the empty streets. When I reached the bridge, the rain came harder. Cars hissed by, their headlights streaking white across the wet asphalt. I leaned against the rail, the city below me glowing like another world I didn't belong to. "Lena," I whispered, voice trembling. "You took everything." Lightning flashed in the distance. A horn blared. Tires screeched, and then Nothing. Just light, sound, and silence swallowing it all. I opened my eyes to the sound of my old alarm, the one I'd thrown away years ago. The ceiling above me looked familiar. My breath caught. The same cracked paint, the same uneven light through the curtains. I sat up fast, heart racing. No, this can't be real. I grabbed my phone. The date blinked back at me, 2 years earlier. My hands trembled as I stared at the screen. My fingers looked different, no scars from the crash. My laptop sat on the desk, stickers I'd peeled long ago still fresh. What the hell? I whispered. I rushed to the mirror. The face staring back was mine, younger, sharper, unbroken. I touched my reflection. I'm back. The shock lasted only minutes before something colder settled in. Fury. This time I wouldn't be the fool who trusted smiles. I opened my laptop and searched for Emoji IQ. No results. My inbox was full of old project drafts. The betrayal hadn't happened yet. Lena didn't own my future, and not this time. My phone buzzed. Lena. Morning. Big day today. Investor meet at 2? I stared at the message. I could almost hear her voice. Warm, perfect, practiced. I typed slowly. Yeah. Let's make it count. Then I whispered to myself, just not the way you think. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. My thoughts raced. If I played this right, I could build something stronger, something only I controlled. But I had to erase every trace of the old me. I opened my folder labeled Centify Original. My fingers hovered over the files. Every line of code was my past, the one she'd stolen. Goodbye, I murmured, and hit delete. The progress bar crawled across the screen, taking my old life with it. Once it was gone, I started again from scratch. The new code was faster, cleaner, smarter. I named it Nemos, short for No Emotion System. This one wasn't built to predict feelings. It was built to hide them. Hours passed before I heard a knock. I opened the door to Dylan, holding 2 coffees. Man, you look like hell, he said. Didn't sleep much. He grinned. Lena's been buzzing since last night. Says today's our shot. Yeah, I said, forcing a smile. Our shot. He handed me a coffee. You're not nervous, are you? Not anymore, he laughed. That's the spirit. She said she'll meet us there. I nodded, pretending calm. Inside, every word from him replayed like static. I remembered how easily he'd switched sides before, after he left. I opened a notebook and began writing. Rule 1, trust no one. Rule 2, never show everything. Rule 3, make them think they're winning. When the clock hit noon, I packed my laptop and caught my reflection again. Steadier eyes, sharper focus. You're not the same man anymore, I whispered. At the cafe, Lena was already waiting. Her smile hit like deja vu. There you are, she said. You didn't forget me, did you? Hard to forget you, I said. She laughed. You look different. Calm, confident. I like it. I learned a few things, I replied. Her eyes gleamed. You'll need that. The investors can be brutal. Then we'll be sharper. For a moment, she studied me. You're not worried. Should I be? She shrugged. You used to overthink everything. Guess I stopped. Good, she said. We can't afford mistakes. Mistakes. Like trusting her, I nodded. I'll follow your lead. Inside, I almost smiled. This time, I wasn't following anything. I was watching. After the meeting, she hugged me lightly. You did great, she said. Thanks. Her perfume hit me, the same scent from the day she betrayed me. It didn't sting anymore. It just reminded me how far I'd fallen. As soon as she left, I sat in the car and opened my notes. I wrote a single line. She doesn't know I've already seen the ending. When I got home, the code on my screen shimmered under the dim light. Every keystroke felt like a heartbeat. I wasn't rebuilding. I was preparing. For days, I worked in silence. I watched how Lena spoke to Dylan, how she manipulated conversations, how easily he bent toward her words. They hadn't changed. But I had. At night, I'd stand by the window watching the city lights. I'm not the same man anymore, I'd whisper, and they'll never see it coming. I met Clara on a Tuesday in the break room of our old company. She was bent over her laptop, typing so fast her fingers blurred. I said, "You always work through lunch?" She jumped slightly, pushing up her glasses. "Deadlines don't respect hunger," I smiled. "Fair enough. I'm Ethan." "I know," she said softly. "You wrote that predictive model last year, right?" "Yeah," I replied. "Didn't think anyone noticed." "I notice good code," she said, closing her laptop. "Yours reads like poetry." "Messy but honest," I laughed. "That's one way to put it," she tilted her head. "You sound like someone starting something new." I hesitated. "Maybe I am." That was how it started. A casual exchange that felt too natural. Clara didn't talk much, but when she did, it mattered. Later that evening, I found her at her desk again. "You ever think about leaving this place?" I asked. She didn't look up. "Every day. But I don't have connections or confidence. Why?" "I might have something better than this," I said. "A side project." "What kind?" "Something that understands people better than they understand themselves." She smiled faintly. "That sounds impossible." "So did flying." She paused, studying me. "You sound like a dreamer." "I used to be," I said quietly. "Now I'm just determined." That night, she agreed to meet at my apartment to see the prototype. When she walked in, she glanced around at the scattered notebooks, half-finished coffee cups, and the glowing lines of code on my screen. "You've been living here," she said. "Pretty much." She sat beside me. "Show me what you've got." I opened the program. "It's called Nemos. It's not ready, but it's learning faster than anything I've built before." She leaned forward. "How are you training the data sets?" "Emotion-triggered response tracking." "Real-time adaptation." Her eyes widened. "That's advanced." "Who's funding you?" "No one," I said. "And that's how I want it." She looked at me for a long moment. "You don't trust people easily, do you?" "Not anymore." "I won't ask why," she said, "but I'll help, if you'll let me." "Why?" I asked. "You don't even know what this is for." "I don't need to. I just know it's worth building." For the first time in a long time, I believed someone. Weeks passed like hours. We worked in silence, broken only by the sound of keys and caffeine-fueled laughter. She never asked about my past. She didn't pry. She just built, and that was enough. One night, around 2 a.m., I caught her staring at the screen. "You ever wonder what this could do?" She asked, "What do you mean?" "If something like this existed in the wrong hands, it could control people, not understand them." I nodded. "That's why it has to stay secret." She looked at me again. "Secret from who?" "Everyone." The next day, I ran into Lena. She was standing outside the building, perfectly styled, pretending not to notice me. "Ethan?" she said, feigning surprise. "Wow, you still work here?" "For now," I replied. "Just tying up loose ends?" Her smile was bright but cold. "I heard you've been busy. A little project on the side?" "Where'd you hear that?" "People talk," she said. "You always had a thing for ambition," I chuckled. "Funny, I thought you had the patent on that." Her eyes flickered. "Don't be bitter, Ethan, you're talented. You just need direction." "Your kind of direction?" "If you're smart," she said softly, "you'll join me again. There's room for you." "I could use someone who actually understands the tech." I smiled. Tempting offer. She stepped closer. "Think about it." As she walked away, I felt my pulse steady. No anger, no regret. Just calculation. That night, Clara noticed something off. "You're quiet," she said. "Ran into an old friend. Must have been some friend." "She used to be," I said. "Now she's a lesson." Clara leaned back in her chair. "Do you ever stop thinking 5 moves ahead?" "Not anymore," she smiled faintly. "Then let me guess, and this friend doesn't know who you are now." "She doesn't," I said. And that's the point. We went back to work. The rhythm between us was effortless. Code, coffee, silence, small laughter. It wasn't romantic. It was something cleaner, safer. By midnight, the prototype responded for the first time. Clara clapped her hands. "It's alive," I grinned. "Not bad for a secret," she turned to me. "Ethan, what?" I stared at the blank name registration form for hours before typing the words, Nemos Innovations. No mention of Ethan Cole. No trace of who I used to be. Clara peered over my shoulder. "You're sure about hiding your name?" "Absolutely," I said. "The less people know, the safer this stays." She folded her arms. Feels strange, doesn't it? Starting over under an alias. Not strange, I said quietly. Necessary. We launched 2 weeks later. No press, no announcements, just clean code, quiet ambition, and a rented workspace that smelled like dust and coffee. I worked harder than I ever had. Every keystroke felt like erasing the old me. Then one morning, Clara burst in. Nate, she corrected herself. We got an email from a potential investor. Who? She grinned. Mr. Vance, I froze. Vance? As in the Vance who rejected my pitch 2 years ago? She nodded. Looks like he's changed his mind, I exhaled slowly. Or maybe I just changed the game. When Vance called, his voice was slick as ever. Mr. Reeves, he said, my new name. I've been hearing about your company. Emotion-based predictive analytics, yes? That's right, I said evenly. Funny, he continued. I saw something similar before, but it was unpolished. I wouldn't know about that, I lied. Our model's unique, he chuckled. I like confidence. Send me your pitch deck. After the call, Clara smiled nervously. He doesn't know, does he? No, I said. And he won't. The next day we met Vance at his glass office downtown. He was all smiles and handshakes. Mr. Reeves, he said, your presentation impressed me. You've built something sharp, ahead of its time. I smiled politely. We're just getting started. I'd like to invest, he said. A sizable amount. Clara's hand brushed mine under the table. Excitement. On one condition, Vance added. Full access to your development updates. I met his gaze. You'll have what you need to stay informed, not what you need to control us. He laughed. Confident and cautious. I like that. By the end of the week, the deal was signed. This time, he believed in me. But good news doesn't stay secret for long. 3 days later, I got a call I didn't expect. Ethan? The sound of my name from her mouth froze me. Lena, I said flatly. It's been a while, she laughed softly. Still dramatic, I see. I heard a rumor. Something about a new analytics firm shaking things up. Sounded familiar. Coincidence, maybe. Maybe, she echoed. Still, it reminded me of us. There is no us, I said. Relax, she said. I'm just curious. You always had good ideas. I'd hate for someone else to take them again. Her words twisted like knives. Don't worry, I said. That won't happen, she lingered. You sound different. Maybe I finally grew up. When the call ended, I stared at my reflection in the monitor. Calm face, steady eyes. Not the man she once broke. Later that night, Clara noticed my silence. You look like you saw a ghost. Maybe I did. Lena? I nodded. She's fishing, Clara said. You're not going to bite, are you? No, I said. But I'll let her think I might. Over the next few weeks, Dylan reached out too. A text, casual Dylan. Hey man, long time. Heard you're working on something new? Would love to catch up. I typed, then deleted, then finally sent. Sure. Coffee sometime. We met at a small cafe near the office. He arrived, smiling. You look good, Ethan. It's Nate now, I corrected. He laughed awkwardly. Right, reinvention, I respect that. Do you? I asked. He sipped his drink. Listen, Lena's been worried. She thinks you might be working on something that overlaps with MOTIQ. I leaned back. And what do you think? He hesitated. I think maybe we could work together again. I smiled faintly. You, me, and Lena, just like old times? Exactly, he said quickly. Tempting, I replied. But I'm in a different place now, he frowned. Ethan, come on. Don't be like that. Like what? I asked. Honest? He shifted uncomfortably. You sound angry. I'm not, I said. I'm free. When I left, his expression told me everything. Confusion, frustration, maybe fear. Good. At the office, Clara looked up from her computer. That went well? Perfectly, I said. They're watching me now. That's exactly what I want, she frowned. You sure this isn't personal? It's always personal, I said softly. Every conversation after that was strategy. Polite smiles, hidden traps. I dropped hints in chat groups, whispered leads to the right people, leaked minor updates that meant nothing. Each time Lena took the bait, I could almost hear her panic. Clara caught me smiling one night. You enjoying this? I paused. I'm not enjoying it. I'm learning how to win, she shook her head. You've changed. I had to. Inside, though, I watched the headlines roll in like a storm I'd predicted. EmoteIQ faces data breach allegations. Investors demand answers. Users report emotional manipulation. Every article hit its mark. Clara looked at me from across the office. You've been smiling a lot lately. Should I be worried? I leaned back, pretending to read. Depends. Do you believe in karma? She frowned. You did something, didn't you? I shrugged. I just gave truth a little help finding the light. She narrowed her eyes. Meaning? Meaning, I said. I talked to Dean Alvarez. Her jaw dropped. The journalist? The one Lena hates? The same, I replied. He's been waiting for a story like this. All I had to do was feed him breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs? She asked. Evidence, I corrected. Screenshots, design timestamps, the original code metadata. Everything she stole. Clara ran a hand through her hair. You're playing with fire, Ethan. I've already been burned, I said. Now it's her turn. The next day, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. Paige, we need to talk. She's falling apart. I stared at it, almost amused. Paige was Lena's assistant. Loyal, efficient, invisible. The kind of person Lena never thanked, I replied, where and when? She sent an address, a quiet cafe near downtown. When I arrived, she was already there, nervously stirring her coffee. Paige, I said, sitting down. She looked up, eyes wide. You really came. Why wouldn't I? Because, she whispered, you're the reason she's drowning. I smiled faintly. Then maybe I should see it for myself, Paige hesitated. She's losing it. Reporters outside the office. Investors pulling out. She's yelling at everyone. Yesterday, she threw her laptop at the wall. She always did have a temper, I said. This isn't anger, Paige said. It's fear. Good, I murmured. Paige frowned. I don't understand. You used to love her. I did, I said softly. Until she buried me alive. She leaned closer. If she finds out you're behind this, she won't, I said. And even if she does, who'll believe her? Paige looked away. She keeps saying someone's watching her. Maybe she's right. I finished my coffee and stood. Tell her I said hi. When I left, my chest felt hollow, not joy, not guilt, just balance. A week later, Dean called me. You seeing the fallout? I read the headlines, I said. You did good work, he chuckled. You gave me gold, my friend. The plagiarism angle alone could ruin her career. Don't gloat, I said. Just report, he laughed. You're colder than I thought. Just focused, I said, and hung up. Later that night, I found myself watching a live stream, Lena's press conference. She stood at the podium, eyes tired, voice trembling. Our team is addressing the recent allegations, she said. EmoteIQ remains committed to transparency. Her hands shook as she spoke. Clara watched beside me. She looks destroyed. She should, I said quietly. She built her throne out of my bones. Lena forced a smile on screen. We're confident these claims are false and will be resolved soon. But when her gaze flicked toward the camera, I knew she saw me. Not through the lens, through memory. Ethan, Clara whispered. She's looking at you. I stood there, arms crossed, watching the woman who once told me, we'll change the world together. She looked small now. A reporter shouted, Is it true you stole the code from a former partner? Her mask cracked. That's absurd, she stammered. Flashbulbs went off. Questions flew. She blinked rapidly, sweating, lost. And in that chaos, her eyes found me, standing quietly at the back of the hall. Her lips parted, shock written across her face. I didn't smile. I didn't move, I just watched. Clara whispered beside me. She knows. I want her to, I said. Lena's voice faltered. Excuse me, she muttered, stepping away from the podium. Cameras followed her as she stumbled off stage. I followed her exit with my eyes until she disappeared behind the curtains. For a long moment, the room buzzed with noise, reporters shouting, assistants running, security trying to restore order. Then I turned and walked out into the cold evening air. Clara caught up to me outside. Was that satisfying? I looked up at the cloudy sky. Justice isn't supposed to feel good, but does it? She asked. I hesitated. It feels right. The next day, Paige called again. Her voice shook. She's not sleeping. Keeps asking why this happened. Keeps saying your name. I said nothing. She's breaking, Paige whispered. You should stop. I can't, I said. Not yet. There was silence on the line, then a soft sigh. You're not doing this for justice anymore, are you? Maybe not, I said. Maybe I'm doing it to remind her what she did to me. After the call, I stared at my reflection in the office window. My face was calm, but my eyes, cold, unfamiliar. She used to look down at me, I whispered to my reflection. Now she looks up, praying I won't step on her. Behind me, Clara spoke softly. Ethan, what happens when there's nothing left to destroy? I didn't answer, because deep down I didn't know. When Dean's article went live, the world shifted overnight. Exclusive, the true creator behind EmotiIQ, evidence of theft and betrayal, screenshots of my old designs, timestamps, emails, and code fragments, all laid bare. It was undeniable. Clara burst into my office, waving her phone. Ethan, it's everywhere. Every outlet's running it. I didn't look up from my laptop. Good, she stepped closer. You don't even seem surprised. I'm not, I said. I've been waiting for this moment. Her voice softened. She's finished, isn't she? By morning, no one will touch her. Investors, partners, and they'll all walk away. Clara sighed. So it's over. Not yet, I said quietly. There's still one thing left. That evening, my phone buzzed nonstop. Messages from unknown numbers, old colleagues, even reporters. Everyone wanted a comment, a quote, a confession. I gave none. Then Dylan called. I hesitated before answering. Didn't expect to hear from you. Ethan, he said, voice trembling. I swear I didn't know what she did. Of course you didn't, I said dryly. You just happened to co-found her stolen idea by accident. I thought it was hers, he insisted. She said you'd given up, that you weren't stable. I laughed softly. And you believed her because it was convenient. He went quiet. Finally, he said, I'm done with her. I told the board everything. They're cutting ties. Cowardice disguised as honesty, I said. You're saving yourself. I'm trying to make it right. No, I said. You're trying to survive. He didn't argue. I deserve that, just don't destroy me too. I don't need to, I replied. You'll do that on your own. When I hung up, I felt no triumph, just a calm emptiness. Hours later, I heard the knock, 3 soft taps. Hesitant. Familiar. I froze. When I opened the door, Lena stood there, drenched from the rain. Makeup smeared, eyes red. Ethan, she whispered, voice trembling, please. Don't close the door. I didn't move. You shouldn't be here. I didn't know where else to go. You have a mansion, I said. Go there, she shook her head. It's not home anymore, I sighed. What do you want? Her lips quivered. I wanted to explain. Explain? I said sharply. You stole my idea, my career, my name. What's left to explain? Her tears mixed with the rain. I made a mistake. I thought I could build something better, but without you, without me, you had nothing. I cut in. She flinched. You think I don't know that now? I stepped back, studying her. You had everything you wanted. Money, fame, control. Was it worth it? No, she said, voice breaking. None of it means anything now. I laughed softly. You sound like me, 2 years ago. Her shoulders shook. Ethan, please. You're the only one who understands me. Understand you? I repeated coldly. You destroyed me once. Now you finally understand what it feels like. She reached out, gripping my sleeve. I was scared. You were getting too good too fast. I thought you'd leave me behind. So you decided to ruin me first? I didn't mean for it to go that far. I pulled away. You meant every step of it. You wanted the world to love you more than you ever loved anyone. Her voice dropped to a whisper. I loved you. I met her eyes. Then you shouldn't have buried me. Silence filled the space between us, heavy, suffocating. She looked down. Everyone's gone. Dylan, the investors, my staff, they're all calling me a fraud. And they're right, I said. Her voice cracked. So what now? You just watch me fall apart? I hesitated, then said, I already did that once. I'm not watching again. She took a shaky breath. You won't forgive me. No, I said softly. Forgiveness is for the person I used to be. For a moment, she just stared, lost, broken, the powerful woman reduced to trembling silence. Then she whispered, "You've changed." "I had to," I said. "You made sure of that." Rain poured harder outside, echoing against the pavement. She took a step back. "If you ever loved me, I did," I said, cutting her off. "And that's the problem." Her lip trembled. "What happened to that man?" I exhaled. "He died the day you called my dream yours." She stared at me for a long moment, then whispered, "I'm sorry." I nodded once. "So am I." And then I closed the door. I stood there listening to the faint sound of her footsteps fading into the rain. For a long time, I didn't move. Inside my chest, there was no rage left, just quiet. The kind that follows after a storm, Clara called soon after. "Are you okay?" "Yeah," I said. She came by. "What did you tell her?" "The truth." Clara was silent for a moment. "You don't sound happy." "I'm not," I admitted. "But I am free. I used to dream of this, walking into a room and seeing my name glowing on the wall, the logo of my company shining behind me. Now it wasn't a dream. It was reality. Reporters filled the conference hall, cameras flashing. Someone shouted, "Ethan Cole, how does it feel to be the man changing the tech world?" I smiled. Honestly, it feels like I just followed my heart. Laughter and applause echoed. The same magazines that once called me a failed innovator now called me a visionary. My company, Nemos, had surpassed MOTIQ in users, funding, and global reach. The irony wasn't lost on me. After the press event, Clara caught up to me backstage. "You handled that perfectly," she said, handing me a water bottle. I grinned. It's strange. They used to laugh when I talked about emotions and algorithms. "Now they pay to hear you say the same words," she said, smiling. "Poetic justice," I murmured. Clara leaned against the wall. "You deserve this, Ethan. You worked harder than anyone." I looked at her. Steady, genuine, unshaken. "Couldn't have done it without you," she raised an eyebrow. "Don't get sentimental on me now." "I mean it," I said. "You reminded me why I started building again." Her expression softened. "You built yourself too, you know," I chuckled. "Yeah, brick by brick." Later that evening, I drove to Nora's house. Small, warm, nothing like the cold apartments I used to hide in. She opened the door before I knocked twice. "Ethan?" she said, wrapping me in a hug. "You're actually on time." "Don't sound so surprised," I said, laughing. She pulled back, grinning. "I saw your interview. You looked happy." "I am," I said. "For once, I actually am." We sat at her kitchen table. It smelled like coffee and cinnamon. "I remember when you thought everything was over," she said softly. "You wouldn't even leave your apartment." "Yeah," I said, staring into my cup. "Feels like another lifetime." "It was," she said. "You've lived twice, Ethan, you just didn't realize it." I smiled faintly. "Guess you're right," she touched my hand. "You don't talk about her anymore. There's nothing left to say." "Do you ever think about forgiving her?" I hesitated. "Forgiveness isn't about her, Nora. It's about me. So, have you?" "Not yet," I said. "But I don't hate her anymore," Nora nodded. "That's something." Before I left, she said, "Mom would have been proud of you." My throat tightened. I hope so. When I stepped outside, Clara was waiting by the car. "Family check-in complete?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. She made me eat cookies. "That's love," Clara laughed. "I like your sister already." We drove through the city in silence for a while. Neon lights flashed across the windshield. "Strange, isn't it?" I said. "How quiet success feels compared to revenge." Clara turned to me. "Maybe peace doesn't need noise." Maybe. We stopped at a red light. On the big screen above the intersection, a news broadcast played, "MOTIQ files for bankruptcy." The anchor's voice was calm, detached. Former CEO Lena Grant declined to comment. Then her face appeared, tired, pale, hollow-eyed. Clara looked at me. "That's her, isn't it?" I nodded. "What's left of her?" She watched the screen. "You won, Ethan." I shook my head. "No, I just stopped losing." We drove on. Later that week, I stood alone in my office, staring out over the skyline. My reflection looked sharper, older, A man built from ashes. Clara knocked softly. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said. "Just thinking. About her. About everything," I admitted. "What it cost to get here." She walked closer. "Do you regret it?" I thought for a moment. "Regret's a waste of time. I learned too much from the pain," she nodded. "Then what now?" "Now," I said, "we build bigger," she smiled. "That's the Ethan I know." When she left, I turned back to the window. The city lights shimmered like code, lines of possibility stretching forever. On one of the magazines spread across my desk, my own face stared back at me, the innovator of the year. The same publication that once had Lena's smile on the cover now carried mine. I picked it up, tracing the edge of the page. "You wanted the world to see you," I murmured to the memory of her voice. "Now they only see me." The television behind me played another segment about Emotiiq's collapse. Reporters dissected the downfall, calling it the biggest. The bridge looked smaller than I remembered. The wind carried the same chill, the same faint hum of the river below. I stood at the railing, watching the lights dance across the water, the place where everything ended and everything began again. I whispered, "Full circle." Behind me, footsteps approached. I didn't need to turn to know who it was. "You always find the quietest places," Clara said. I smiled faintly. Guess I needed to hear myself think. She came to stand beside me, her hands resting on the cold metal rail. "It's strange seeing you here, after everything. I used to come here to end things," I said. "Now I come to understand them." She glanced at the river. "You really did it, you know," I shook my head. "No, I just stopped losing." She smiled softly. "That sounds like winning to me." I exhaled, my breath clouding in the night air. I thought revenge would fix me. It didn't. It just gave me something to chase until I remembered who I was. Clara leaned closer. "And who are you now?" I looked at her, then back at the water. "Someone who finally knows what silence can build." She didn't reply. She didn't need to. For a long time, we just stood there, the sound of the city humming behind us. "I used to hate this bridge," I said quietly. "The night I died here, it felt like the world was done with me." She looked at me gently. "But it wasn't." "No," I said. "It was just giving me another chance to start right." I reached into my coat pocket and pulled out my old notebook. Worn edges, faded ink, the first sketches of the app that ruined and rebuilt my life. Clara's eyes widened. "You kept that?" "Couldn't let it go," I said. It was proof I wasn't crazy. Proof I mattered. And now? I turned it over in my hands one last time. "Now it's just paper." She stepped closer. "You sure about this?" "Yeah," I said. "It's time." I held it over the railing, the pages fluttering like wings in the wind. Then I let go. We both watched it fall, slow at first, then swallowed by the dark river below. The ripples spread out, soft and endless. "That's it," I whispered. "The last ghost." Clara touched my shoulder. "You finally found peace." "Maybe," I said. "Or maybe I just stopped running," she smiled. "Same thing." The city lights reflected on the water like tiny stars. For the first time in years, I felt weightless. "I used to think rebirth meant erasing the past," I said. "Now I know it means carrying it and without letting it break you." Clara nodded. "Redemption, not revenge." "Exactly." She turned toward the road. "Come on, it's cold. You've made peace with ghosts. Now you can live." I followed her, glancing back one last time. The bridge glowed under the streetlights, quiet and still. For a second, I saw my old self standing there, like soaked, broken, ready to give up. I smiled at him. "Thank you for falling so I could learn to stand." Clara called out, "Ethan?" "Coming," I said. As we walked away, the sound of the river faded behind me, replaced by the steady rhythm of my own steps. Forward, certain, alive. Revenge had given way to understanding, and rebirth had become redemption.